People, welcome to Newspaper Breakdown. It's the 10th of the 1st. I hope we are all in a direction. Few news stories to go through today, some interesting stuff about, as always. Trying not to cover the same tedious stuff that is all the time, although it's interesting the thought process that goes around to that, isn't it? Because they're very important news stories that is seen daily and daily and daily, and what that does is it dulls us to the importance of it, like the strikes, the destruction of the NHS, Brexit being a pile of shit, the climate. All of this stories are every day. We see new stuff every single day, and it can dull you. It's one of the problems with 24-hour news. Certainly, if it's constantly pumped into your head, you get dulled to it. You get desensitized to tragedies that are out there. It's something that, as a person, it's difficult to keep up to that level of empathy and compassion. Anyway, new US guidelines, so we'll start over in the US today. New US guidelines said that children struggling with obesity should be treated early, including with medication and surgery. This was the first guidelines on childhood obesity in 15 years in the US, released by the American Academy of Pediatrics. Doctors cautioned that delay in treatment for obesity could lead to lifelong health problems, with nearly 15 million young people considered obese in the US, with guidelines saying that behavioural and lifestyle changes should be the first line approach. So, although the straight away saying the first thing that's in your head is Christ on a bike, children shouldn't be handed fucking drugs and given operations just because they're obese. It seems wrong, doesn't it? In the mind, you're hearing that, but they are pointing out that the first line of approach should be to change their behavioural and lifestyle choices so that you get healthy in a better way. Obesity is linked to serious health issues like type 2 diabetes and high blood pressure. Guidelines said for the first time that medication can be offered to children as young as 12 and weight loss surgery to children as young as 13. They also said that doctors should look at obesity more as a biological disease rather than lifestyle problems, as research has shown that genetics and hormones can have an impact on weight. We all know that as a species we are getting fatter, but it's not because it's an evolutionary thing, it's greed. That's it. There are hormonal and genetic reasons. However, if you spend your life exercising and being healthy and everything else, you're not going to be obese. But there are a small number of people in this world who are obese and remarkably healthy. It isn't as black and white. However, the majority, because you look at people like in the Olympics and weightlifters and everything else like this, or sumo, or all of these people, you go, look at them. They're obese, but they're healthy. You have to turn around and say, yeah, but you are not fucking that. You have to understand that. Obesity is a big issue. We are in a state of a world where you can't actually say obesity is an issue without offending people. And I understand everyone wants to be body positive, and I get that. I do understand that. But it is still doctors' jobs to say, well, this isn't right, this is unfair, don't do this is bad for you. It is literally what a doctor is fucking there for. It is there to give their medical opinion on certain things. It's why, as a smoker, I'm not a smoker anymore, I used to be. When doctors said to me, you know, that smoking's bad for you, it's linked to all of this stuff, I didn't go, actually I think you'll find that there are professional footballers who smoke and they're fine, because it would be a pointless exercise. I know what I'm doing is bad, I know it's not fucking great. I understand, but your fucking children, you put a 13-year-old under the knife, or give them, or a 12-year-old, you start giving them medication because they're obese. There's something fundamentally fucked there. As a society, we're gone. Greed already is a massive problem. That's why we've got starving people and fucking fat people. That is a fundamental issue there. We do have enough food to feed everyone, but the Western world would prefer to gorge themselves. I'm not in any way, shape or form a svelte fellow. I'm fully aware I could do a lot more to put myself into a better shape. I'm not a tall fellow either, so I do try to make sure that I don't get too fat, otherwise I'll be like a fucking bowling ball, that and the thing, so I have to consider that constantly. And it's fine, by the way, for your body image to not be happy with your body at certain points. That doesn't make you like less of a person. If you're there going, I'm not actually happy with my body, that's fine. If you're going to work and do something about it, there's nothing wrong with that. You've got this idea that everyone has to be happy at every fucking point that they are in. No part of my body I'm not happy with. It's fine for me not to be happy with it. It's absolutely okay. As an example, I've never been able to bend my thumb. I'm not happy with that. It drills inside of you. I'm not sure if you've ever not been able to do something as simple as bend your thumb before, but I tell you, it breaks the fucking mind. You're meant to love your body. No, I don't love that. It fucking drills me head in, and it's absolutely fine. I can't do anything about that. But you understand what I'm saying. The simplicity that we want to give answers to body positivity is a fantastic thing. Yes, it is. But not everyone has to be happy with every fucking aspect, and people may want to improve themselves. Of course, you can't say that, because the idea of doing anything, getting more muscle, fucking putting on more weight, anything, is not everyone's perfect, and you can achieve things that you want. And going into a fucking boring, absolutely boring. Anyway, we'll stick with children while we're here, but we'll go to the UK now. Children are having to wait hundreds of days to receive vital mental health treatment. Of the 25 CCGs and ICBs that responded to a Freedom of Information request from the Lib Dems, 8 admitted average waits for mental health services exceeded 100 days. Number of children needing treatment for the likes of anxiety, depression, eating disorders rose sharply in the last year. It's a 39% jump in 21 to 22 in mental health referrals for under 18s in England. So it's 1.1 million now. I can love a cup of tea. This, you can argue, go back to what I was saying previously, but for the other side. I'm there saying, well, body positivity isn't the be-all and end-all. If you want to improve yourself, you can do. But then you look at the flip side, you can have a look like this, and without something like body positivity, you'll have even more people who are pushed into this world of fake that we have. We're constantly bombarded with stunning people who spend millions on their fucking bodies and touch themselves up on Instagram photos to give a concept of beauty that is you can never reach, which brings into anxiety, depression, especially the eating disorders. With anxiety and depression, I'm a firm believer that if you're depressed at the moment, you're doing a good job. You can read and you've got compassion. Well done. That is how humans deal with constant tragedy. The idea of you being sad or depressed at the moment doesn't make you weak, doesn't make you strange, doesn't make you different. It makes you fucking correct. Happy people at the moment, they are the people you need to be wary of, because they are fucking sociopaths. If you're able to read and you take an interest in someone other than your fucking self or your circle of tedium, then you will be depressed, because you have compassion, and reading the constant deaths and destruction of everything is difficult. I'd say, it doesn't work for children, but for adults, enjoyment. That's how you help yourself. You do things that you know you enjoy, and you live in those moments, because they won't last forever. Right? Enjoyment doesn't. But like with friends, you don't think outside of anything else. When you're drinking with friends, when you're out with friends, you don't think about anything else. You don't do anything else. You just live in that moment, in that time. That's the enjoyment, and that enjoyment, that memory, will keep you going. And you continue to keep yourself heading towards something. That's the trick. Always fucking move towards something. Wallowing is a difficult fucking thing to get past. I'm aware of that. It's why I like to go through the swift kick up the hole method that isn't for everyone. We've got more than 650,000 deaths were registered in 2022, which is 9% more than 2019, and the largest and one of the largest excess deaths levels in 50 years outside of a pandemic, bringing up to the question, how or why? Why do we have more excess deaths than we have done previously? Reason, because Tories are trying to destroy the NHS. We've covered the NHS in many separate fucking ways. Many separate fucking ways. I did a very good bit, maybe yesterday, maybe last week. Days all mould into one now. But going through the reasoning for how the NHS is being screwed over at the moment. And then you also got the question, are we doing health wrong? In this country, it constantly feels like we are not preventative when it comes to health. We are reactionary. We look at hospitals and doctors as the first port of call, instead of potentially living a healthier life that would mean that we didn't require the doctor or pills or everything else as quickly. So if we were more preventative in our measures in our lives, then the NHS wouldn't be as fucked. It's just an idea, though, isn't it? I mean, in the end, I'm just a bloke, and pretty one. Don't get me wrong. Hey, am I right? Forecasters have warned of floods today, as we are still a country that is surprised by rain. The Met Office has issued 3 yellow warnings covering much of Wales and northwest England. It is a constant surprise to me that we are in so much trouble on this island when it fucking rains. We have water companies that fall apart when they get too much rain, and we have floods because back in 2010, during the Tories' first reign of terror, when it came to austerity, they took money away from flood protections. It's ridiculous. The lack of improvement we've had in our infrastructure for like 50 fucking years is abhorrent, and every fucker that has been a leader in this country should be, I was going to say hung, but that's a bit strong, held to account, potentially by hanging. No, you shouldn't bring back the death penalty. It's a pointless exercise only wanted by bigots. The Bank of England has criticised UK banks' risk management systems in a series of letters to chief executives following a year of market volatility that exposed weak spots in lenders' defences. This is important because it was the banks that collectively helped to screw us in 2008. So it's very important to keep an eye to make sure that banks do not go back to their ways. We've already had some safeguarding put in place after 2008 that the Tories are currently wanting to change. You're putting the High Street Bank and their investment side as 2 separate entities. One of the things that came from 2008 to make sure that the High Street Bank is protected if the investment side blows up again. The Tories are currently working to make sure that we get rid of that particular regulation so they can all go together again and fuck us again. The Bank of England warned banks last year about deficiencies in their risk management and governance frameworks. Firms continue, this is the Bank of England, firms continue to unintentionally accrue large and concentrated exposures to single counterparties without fully understanding the risks that could arise. First off, the idea that banks in their investments are not putting in enough risk management to understand risks is concerning, to say the least. The problem that you've got here is the exposure. When it comes to risk management and money management, diversity is always the friend. It's very difficult for diversity if you don't have a lot of money. This is it. I myself, I've got, this is one of the sections of the world where I have some experience from previous lives. I've been in finance in the past in different risk aspects. So if you're trading, shall you say, as an example, and you've got your cheeky £1,000 in the account, and you're trading on it in forex, foreign exchange money, and you're putting everything into euro. You're putting all of your risk into euro. That is too much risk into one thing. What you want is diversity. So if something happens and the euro gets hit, you are still covered by other things. If you're putting too much exposure into one particular area or one particular counterpart, you are ramping up your risk, because if something happens to that counterpart, you don't have any backing. You've got nothing behind you to protect you from such things. We got two more news stories. 5 million children around the world died before 5 in 2021. Most could have been saved with better healthcare. Mortality rates have fallen since 2000, which is good, but have slowed over the past 12 years. 12 years, Tories been in about 12 years. I'm not saying the Tories are to blame for the world's things, but I wouldn't put it fucking past them. Children born in sub-Saharan Africa are 15 times more likely to die than in Europe and North America. This is just mental. And it's what always annoys me with the argument of we are as good as we have ever been. The world is as good as it has ever been. No, we're not. We're not. Not when we have information like this. 5 million, you can say, well, I think fine, back in 1950, you had a lot more mortality rate. You had a much higher mortality rate than you do now. Yeah, but our technology has gone beyond that, hasn't it? You can't compare 1950 to now unless you take the inflation into account. You have to take the inflation into account with that. Knowledge inflation, I call it. If you don't take that into account, then just comparing is pointless. Finally, we'll end on good news. The ozone layer is on course to be healed within decades, with the fully recovered. It's going to be fully recovered for most of the world by 2040. So it will be fully recovered just in time for everything else to be fucked. So, good times. Well, I hope you have found this of use, interesting. I shall talk to you again. Bye.